Hey guys, it's Jonathan Parr, physical therapist at Parr PT, and today we're going to be going over posture and what we can do as PTs for posture, specifically for those who have jobs, 9 to 5, sitting at a desk. And one of the things I really point out is it's not always about just always having complete upright posture, because there's a lot of other factors that come into play. So when it comes to this position, for an example in my setup, my chair is where my hips are slightly above my knees, so even if I want them a little bit higher, this therefore puts me in a better position to be upright. You notice that whenever you're sitting, if you're sitting in something a lot lower, your bottom sits below the knee, and then you tend to kind of get into this rounded posture because the knees are higher. Whereas if you have a chair that you can raise up, it's going to force you into this upright posture, so it's easier to work on the computer, whatever it might be. Also, if you can't change the height of your desk, moving the chair up is going to help you as well. So now that I've raised this up a bit more, my resting posture doesn't allow my shoulders to shrug up. Whereas if I'm in something a little bit lower, I'm going to have to shrug up more to get my arms on the table, because the table is going to be higher than my elbow. So once I'm here, I'm in a better position now. Roughly, without having to think about the degrees of the elbow, you want it to just lay about, I'd say give or take about 30 degrees. You should be able to do something like this. If you find that you're more 90 degrees, that's going to cause the elbows to come up. So two things that we're considering is, one, typically what happens with back pain, two, what happens with neck pain. So once I've gotten this position to where I'm more relaxed, I'm less likely to come up. I'm less likely to round back. And so this pelvic position and shoulder position is what's really going to be affecting the neck. So let's chop this down into what's happening at the pelvis. So if I'm coming lower, my hips are lower than my knee. If I start to round back, that naturally forces my shoulders to round forward, and therefore me get into this forward head posture here. So you see how linking these together can make a big impact just alone on neck pain. So if we're able to really stabilize the pelvis or put the pelvis in a better position, it's going to help us with the way our neck feels. Now on the other end, if I'm up higher and now I don't have too much of this shoulder shrugging position, now I'm able to, one, relax the shoulders, and two, it doesn't force me in this position where I'm going to just essentially keep everything in a shortened position, which will cause tightness in the side of the neck. So those are the two most common things that we typically find with 9 to 5 jobs. But as PTs, there's a lot that we can help. So a lot of people say, okay, well, just get your back stronger and just sit up better. Well, now that we know it's not just the back, it's also the pelvis. So one of the exercises that I'll be showing will be specifically to learning how to get in that neutral pelvic position to therefore reduce the strain that's coming on the shoulders and the neck. Okay, so the exercise that we're going to be looking at is called sitting APT. And so the idea is that we're going to learn how to rock the pelvis forward and backwards without rounding the shoulders. So what this does for me is that it teaches me how to keep this stabilized without using any other part of my body. So notice that I'm sitting on something higher. My hips are higher than my knees. I'm making sure that my feet are always flat, and especially with sitting, if our feet are dangling, it does put more strain on the back. So we want to make sure the feet are flat on the ground. You're sitting on a bit of a higher surface. You can do this in a chair that's 90 degrees, like 90-90, but I would recommend something higher at first just to help you, okay? So in this position, what I'm focused on here is rocking the pelvis backwards, so just rotating backwards and then rotating forward. So that kind of rotary component of the pelvis. What we don't want to see is this, where you're rocking back, rounding the shoulders, hyperextending the shoulders as you come back and forth. So on this one, we just want to make sure that we're going to focus on rocking the pelvis without rounding the shoulders. So you can do a few repetitions here where you're rocking back. Again, I'm not rounding the shoulders, coming up, and seeing how many you can do before you feel like you start to round forward in that mid-back area. So this is a great exercise to practice. It's good that you can still do it if you're at your desk, and it's ways to get you more activation in that core region. Really, dude.